The first major protests and violent clashes in Libya took a life of their own on February the 17th, 3 years ago. Major demonstrations took place in key towns, among them Benghazi, Zintan, Ajdabiya and Darna. Muammar Gaddafi's response unleashed troops which responded by firing live ammunition at the crowds. More than a dozen demonstrators were killed. In the days that followed, protests escalated as anti-Gaddafi fighters seized control of Benghazi. The rebel National Transitional Council declared itself Libya's sole representative. Further west, though, the early weeks of the war did not go well for the rebels as Gaddafi began pushing them back.
The Security Council has authorized the use of force, including enforcement of a no-fly zone.
In the same month, the UN Security Council voted to authorize a no-fly zone over Libya and endorsed a military action. The humanitarian situation was getting out of hand. Violent clashes claimed hundreds of lives. Come March, and anti-government militias took control of the central coastal city of Misrata. The war's final phase began in August when rebels took control of Gharian, a town about 80 kilometers south of Tripoli. The victory allowed them to completely encircle the Gaddafi-controlled capital. However, Gaddafi remained adamant, making 2 television addresses that called on Libyans to fight off the rebels. The rebels overran Gaddafi's compound in Tripoli, trashing the symbols of his rule. In the meantime, the NATO forces continued to mount intense air raids. In September, the country's interim rulers met world leaders at a conference in Paris to discuss reshaping Libya. In mid-September, the United Nations Security Council eased sanctions on Libya. US President Barack Obama called for the last of Gaddafi's loyalist forces to surrender later that month. NATO announced that Libya's interim rulers had taken full control of the country's stockpile of chemical weapons and nuclear material. In October, Gaddafi's son Motassim was captured as he tried to flee Sirte. NTC fighters captured the town, ending a 2-month siege. On October the 20th, the NTC military chief Abdul Hakim Belhaj confirms that Muammar Gaddafi has died of his wounds after being captured near Sirte. The leader of the NTC, Mustafa Abdel Jalil, declares the liberation of Libya 8 months since the push to end Muammar Gaddafi's 42-year rule began. Mwongeli, CCTV.